All right, so let's go back to this page. Am I sharing the screen with you guys correctly?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So when you guys are living your life and working, you'll probably run into some times when you have to negotiate. What can you guys tell me about negotiating that you know so far?
Negotiating is conversing with another party to come to terms.
Good. So you converse or talk with another party, another person to come to terms. What do you mean to come to terms, Safe?
I think it's like organizing a meeting or organizing an event. So you need to set the time and place
Mm-hmm.
or the topics.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk to everyone involved so that there won't be any conflict.
Okay, good. So you're trying to solve some conflicts. Excellent. What other experiences or knowledge do you already have about negotiating? The whole class.
Currently working on our group projects in soft skills.
Oh, really?
So yeah, me and the team are negotiating what to include and what to not include
Okay, great.
in the topic.
So you're negotiating within your group to solve or to decide what you want to have in your project. Good. Any for us? Any other negotiating experiences you've had recently? Could be the whole class. Has anybody ever done any negotiating to try to get a better price for some kind of
Me- My
Isn't that
mom.
called haggling?
yeah, we call that haggling or bargaining. That's a type of negotiation. Someone said their mom does it.
Yeah, my mom.
Is she good at negotiating the prices?
All the time.
Oh yeah.
She
Anybody
always
else?
gets a better price.
She does good.
Yeah.
So she has good negotiating skills. So the object of this lesson is not necessarily to improve your skills at negotiating, but at least to give you some English phrases so that if you are put into a position where you have to negotiate in English, you'll be able to use the proper phrasing. So we're going to go through this. It's not the it's an okay resource. They start off with if you are welcoming someone to your country or to your meeting, you might start off with something like, "It's my pleasure to welcome you. I'd like to welcome you to. Did you have a good journey?" We learned all those phrases when we talked about meetings last week. Now, when you're setting the negotiation agenda, and Saif used a good word earlier, he said the terms. So the terms are the agenda are what you guys have to follow in a negotiation to make sure that you are on the same page. So you could say, I would like now to begin by suggesting the following agenda. To start with, I think we should establish the overall procedure. Okay, procedure is another word that you could use instead of terms. And you could say, is this okay with you? All right, when you want to make a proposal, we'd like to propose that, or we propose, we suggest. Really, those are the same meanings here. Regarding your proposal, our position is, okay, so remember we learned this regarding when we're talking about emails. When we say regarding like this, it means about, let's talk about this. So talking about your proposal, our position is. And this is a nice phrase you could always use. How do you feel about? Okay, now, if you have to respond to a suggestion, so maybe they say, we suggest, and now you want to come back and respond, you might say, maybe it would be better to, perhaps a better idea would be, may we offer an alternative? We propose that. From where we stand, a better solution might be. Notice these maybes and these perhaps. These are words that we use in English to soften or make a little bit more polite our English because we don't want to come across too strong to say it would be better to. If we say that maybe, then we are indicating we're being a little less forceful or a little bit more polite. If you agree, you could say something like, I think we can both agree that. And notice we have both here because it's a negotiation. There's two sides. And this word both means two sides. I agree with you on that point. I think that would be acceptable. And if you don't agree, you object to what they're saying. You might say, that's not exactly how I look at it. If you look at it from my point of view, I have some reservations about that. This phrase, I have some reservations, means I don't agree completely. There are some things that I don't like. I have some reservations.
بالعربي it's تحفظات.
Same in Arabic?
Yeah, تحفظات.
Good. And I'm afraid we couldn't agree to that. Okay, so if they say they want to charge you $1 million, you might say, I'm afraid we couldn't agree to that. And remember with this, I'm afraid, they're not really scared. They're just politely giving you bad news. Okay, giving reasons, this is very simple. The reason for that is, this is because when you want to prioritize means to put them in a list of importance or a rank of what is the most important. So our most important issue for us is the price. Our most important issue for us is the quality, something like that. Our intention is, our main priority is, we might like to. Okay, clarifying, remember, means to make something clear. So you can say, if I understood you correctly, and then you would repeat what you think they said. Are you suggesting that? Do you mean? What exactly do you mean by? I'm not sure I fully understand your point. Could you clarify one point for me? Could you be more specific? Can we summarize your position up to this point? And am I right in thinking that? Okay, I like this last one. It's a little bit more informal. Am I right in thinking that? So you might say, am I right in thinking that this is your final offer? Okay, when you want to compromise. So compromise means you both sides give a little bit to try to make an agreement. So here, notice they're using the if phrase. If you were prepared to do this, we might be able to do this. We are ready to accept your offer. However, there would be one condition. Okay, when you have a condition, that means one main thing that you really want or you demand. Would you be willing to accept a compromise? Okay, so notice the verb that we use with compromise, accept a compromise. We could also say make a compromise. In return for this, would you be willing to? Okay, and then when you're accepting the negotiation proposal, you could say this agreement is acceptable. I think we've reached an agreement here. This sounds reasonable. I think we have a deal. I believe that we have an agreement. I can agree to that. And then concluding, let's just summarize our agreement. I covered everything. Let's just confirm the details then. And have I left anything out? Okay, so not too difficult, these phrases, but I want you to go over them at home and make sure you understand everything. Now, the reason I kept you guys for 5 more minutes on break is because I had this wonderful negotiation role play that I used with my upper intermediate students at the university. And for some reason, I can't find it on my computer. It just disappeared. So I was searching for that. But what I'm going to do is continue to look for that and send it to you this afternoon or this evening. And I want you to look it over because tomorrow we'll actually do the role play in the class where I'll assign you guys each a part and you'll sit down in groups and discuss what you think will be good solutions to the problem. In the meantime, if you just bear with me and give me about 2 minutes, I have another one that we can do for a little bit of practice. So just hold on for about 2 minutes, okay?
Gotcha.
Okay, guys, thanks for your patience. Let me pull this up for you. So this comes from our advanced class at the university. So some of these phrases might be a little bit more advanced than you're used to, but that's okay. I think most of you can handle it. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and go through this whole lesson. Okay, so look at these people here. Can you see them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So here we have a few different pictures. All right, so let's just imagine for a moment. I want you to think, what do you think they might be negotiating here?
About
I
something
think
related to business.
Okay, maybe something was related to business.
it's something about politicians.
Okay, good. So it could be negotiating some laws or something like that.
Yeah.
I guess it's something important.
Oh yeah, it looks important. What makes you think that, Noor?
From their body language.
Good. So she has her arms crossed and a serious face. Excellent.
I think they will
Okay.
be in a meeting and they're discussing something at a very important point in the meeting.
Okay, good. So it could be they're discussing that important point. It looks like she's using some gesturing here. Good. How about this picture? What do you think they're negotiating here?
About the price.
The price? Anything else? Now it looks like maybe he forgot his wallet or something, so maybe they're negotiating when he will pay for the apples that he's buying. All right. How about this one? What do you imagine they're negotiating?
They celebrate something.
Say it again, Noor.
Celebrate something, maybe.
Okay. All right, good.
I want to buy something from
Mhm.
this man.
Yeah. The old man is trying to convince the couple about buying something.
Okay, good. Trying to convince him to buy something.
They're gonna make a deal soon.
Okay. All right. Looks like it. Maybe they're going to rent this apartment or buy this house or something like that. Who knows? Good. So we're going to go over here and let's answer these questions. Do any of you guys have any experiences with negotiations between parents and children? So either your own experience negotiating with your parents, or you've noticed other parents and children negotiating things.
We are always negotiation
What do you negotiate with your parents?
about everything, almost everything.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, let me think.
Noor, do you negotiate with your parents too?
Yeah, sometimes.
What do you have to negotiate?
Mr. Michael, sorry to interrupt, but may I excuse myself? Because the
Sure.
maintenance people are here to change the internet.
Sure, of course.
Thanks a lot.
My children are always negotiating with me. They're negotiating when they have to do their homework, how much they have to clean the house, how much money I give them for pocket money. What about you guys?
We negotiate about where we should go when we have planned for a trip
Mm-hmm.
or
Good.
where place.
Excellent.
Maybe when I want something and my mom does not want to give it to me,
Mm-hmm.
I negotiate with her.
Uh-huh. Good. Are you usually
I
successful when
negotiate.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Islam.
No, sorry, I interrupt you.
That's all right. Noor, are you
We
usually
usually,
successful?
What?
Are you usually successful when you negotiate, or is your mom more successful?
No, me.
Okay, good. Islam, go ahead.
I think I have a poor internet connection. I don't know if you're gonna hear me or not.
It seems
But
okay.
I negotiate. We all the time negotiate with our mom in order to choose what she's gonna cook for the lunch.
Oh, yeah, negotiating the meals. That's a
Yeah.
good point. Good. So I'm going to start reading these. These are the 7 tips for negotiating. Have you guys learned anything about negotiating and soft skills yet?
Not negotiation itself. We take skills in order to be able to communicate with different cultural people.
Okay. So we're going to learn some phrases here that have to do with specifically negotiation. So I'm going to start reading and then I'm going to ask some other people to read. So these are 7 tips for negotiating. Number 1, approach the negotiation in the right way. Don't think of the other negotiator as your enemy. There are bound to be similar things that you both want. So try to establish common goals. Okay? So establish goals and try to find some common ground. All right. Any questions on this first paragraph? This first tip? Okay. Noor, would you mind reading number 2?
Be realistic when haggling or bargaining.
Bargaining.
Don't start with an
Insultingly.
insultingly low offer. This will only annoy the other party and make a successful conclusion less likely.
Okay, good. We talked about haggling and bargaining earlier before the break. These are both when you're negotiating for prices, especially. So don't start with a very low offer. And they say an insultingly low offer. So it's so bad that it might insult the person. Okay, number
Okay.
3. Let's see, number 3. Wajdi, can you read? Let me bring it back up here. Sorry. There we go, number 3. Wajdi, are you with us? Okay, let's go
Can I
to...
read it?
Yes, Aya, that'd be great.
Number 3, be aware that you won't get everything you want. You will need to surrender some point. This means you need to make a compromises.
Make compromise. Excellent. What do you think that means to surrender?
I didn't hear you. Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. What do you think it means to surrender some points?
You give up some
You
points.
give up. Good.
Or submitting something.
Excellent. So you submit, so you give up. Good. And next, let's go to, let's see, who's left here? Bashra? Or no, Batul. Batul, are you with us? Great. I haven't
Yes, I'm
listened to
here.
you for a while, Batul. Number 4,
Always be tactful,
tactful.
and diplomatic. Never take badly about anyone or anything. If you do, it may come back to haunt you.
Good. So tactful means that you are being polite and you are speaking in a way that is respectful. So you're not trying to insult people. And really, it's the same as diplomatic. Those 2 words mean almost the same thing, tactful and diplomatic. Okay. And Bashra, are you here? Bashra?
If you want, I can read number 5.
Okay, great. Wajdi's, go ahead. Bashra,
Okay.
you can do 6 if you're here.
Don't be afraid to postpone or defer a decision. As the negotiation progress, you may find that the conditions aren't right. You can always come back the next day and start again.
Good. So if you remember way back in week 1 or week 2, we learned this word postpone.
Yes,
And
postpone.
so here's another way to say postpone, defer. And it's a much higher level word than postpone. So if you use it, you'll sound really smart. So if you defer the decision or defer the appointment, then you're making it later.
Can we say defer homework submission?
You can. It sounds a little bit weird because it's so high level that matching it with homework doesn't always work well. So, but you can.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
All right. Bushra, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here still.
Will you read number 6, please?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to postpone.
Oh,
6, sorry.
6. Thank you.
Don't bluff. Don't bluff.
Good.
That's right.
That's right.
Don't bluff. If you don't know something, say you don't know. If you say this is my final offer, it must be your final offer. If you are caught bluffing, you will lose your credibility as a negotiator.
Good.
Negotiator.
All right. Who can guess what that means to bluff?
To bluff, to be honest. Sorry,
Lies.
a whole sentence about to be honest.
Okay.
Or to
So
be
then,
truthful.
so then bluff
Maybe
is like
lie.
it's like lie, right? It's like to say one thing but really not mean it. And so if they think that you're bluffing or lying or not saying what you really mean, then they won't be able to trust you. And then this word credibility. So if we look at the word again, we have cred at the beginning. Anytime a word has cred, that means belief or believe. Okay, and ability you already know. So credibility means the ability to believe you. Okay, so if you have good credibility, that means everybody believes you easily because you're trustworthy. And then if you look again, we have negotiator. Earlier today, we learned that the OR at the end of a word usually indicates that it's a person. And so this is a person that negotiates, a negotiator.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Good. And for us, are you still with us too?
Yes,
Can
Mr.
I read it?
Okay.
Let's have number 7.
Okay. Keep your eye on the main goal. Once the main deal is done, make
Concessions. Good.
concession
That's right.
on small details. The idea is not to win, but to make sure both parties are happy.
Excellent for us. Okay, now you guys, when you're listening earlier today, you heard a different phrase that's basically the same. They said, keep your eye on the prize. Okay, so here we have keep your eye on the main goal. Okay, did you find a nice meaning for keep your eye on the prize today? Anybody?
Yes.
What did you find for it?
To remain focused on a positive achieving
Mm-hmm.
Without considering the problem or setbacks
Good.
you face.
So to stay focused on your main goal, right? To stay focused, basically. Good. And make concessions. Make concessions means that you give in a little bit so that you're not 100% exactly what you want, but you're close. So if we look at these definitions here, okay, so to let the other person have something in order to reach an agreement means to make concessions. So you give them a little bit, and then maybe they'll give you a little bit. When you're careful about what you say so that you don't upset or embarrass anyone, that means tactful. When you pretend something in order to achieve what you want, you are bluffing. So you're pretending that it's true, but it might not be true. And delay is defer. To accept less than what you originally wanted in order to reach an agreement is to make a compromise. To find out what you both want establish common goals. And arguing to agree on the price is haggling. Okay, so some nice words here. These are higher level words, but I think you guys can handle them. I think you'll be able to use them when you are making your negotiations tomorrow. All right, let's try this listening and see how well you guys understand.
Unit 10, Recording 5.
So, David, tell us a little more about negotiating. Is it all about the words you use?
Much of negotiating is in body language and gesture, but it's also vital that you use the right words.
Okay, so I'm at the beginning of some kind of negotiation. How do I start? What's my opening gambit?
Okay, my opening gambit is the first move that I make. Does anybody here know how to play chess, the game chess?
By move one soldier.
Right. And so the very first move in chess is called your opening gambit. So they took that word from that game and they used it in the negotiation vocabulary.
Well, the first thing you want to do is name your objectives.
Okay.
So you can use a phrase such as, we want to sort this out as soon as possible. This makes it clear what you want from the discussion. Another thing you need to do is explore positions.
What does that mean exactly? Can you give an example?
It means asking questions like, can you tell me more about this? What do you have in mind? Exploring positions is all about asking what the other guy wants and then really listening.
I see. So we're trying to establish common goals.
Yeah, then you need to make an offer.
And this is where the real negotiating starts.
Exactly. And the if word becomes so important because your offer is going to be conditional on certain terms being met, concessions and compromises being made. So you might say, if you do this for me, I'll do this for you. What if we gave you access to this? What if we supported your idea?
I see. So it seems in negotiating, the word if is the biggest word in the language.
That's right.
What about negotiating meaning? Things like checking that you understand the conditions on offer.
Essential. Negotiations can be long and tiring, but you cannot switch off for a moment. If you missed something, don't bluff. Ask about it. Go over the points more than once. Be sure. Ask, have I got this right? Are you saying this or that?
Okay. And what about the end game? Let's say the haggling is over. It's decision time and you need to refuse or accept the deal.
Well, refusing is always delicate. You really don't want to close off all further discussion, so you need to be tactful. You never just say no. Instead, you give reasons and explanations. You might say, that's more than I can offer. That would be difficult for me because of my situation. I'm not sure I can do that because I promised something else.
In other words, you refuse without saying no.
Yeah, it's at this stage you might want to stall for time or defer the decision, or if you're in business, consult a more senior colleague. The next stage is when you've reached agreement. You say something like, good, that sounds acceptable to me, or great, we've got a deal. But that's not it.
It isn't over.
You need to follow up the deal. Be polite and civil. Say something like, we can talk about it again and review the situation in a few months. If it's a more formal deal, we can say, let me know if you have any queries. The thing is to follow up the deal. Always keep the conversation open.
Okay, great. Does anybody have any questions about the listening?
I lost most of it.
Oh, you did? Okay. Anybody else?
No, it's clear.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll put this transcript onto your page and your shared folder. So if you want to read it later, you can read it. Okay. Moving on here. Did the man say anything that you particularly agree or disagree with about negotiating? What is negotiating like in this country? Is it the same?
Negotiation, you mean its name in Arabic?
Not in the Arabic language, but in the culture. Does negotiating follow those rules that he was talking about, or does it follow a different set of guidelines?
I'm not sure really about our culture. I'm not sure how it's work.
It
But
has.
the element of the negotiation, the discussion,
Mm-hmm.
the topic, the people, the way they are talk to each other.
Mm-hmm. Good.
I think it's similar to all cultures.
Okay, good. And who was talking? Was it Ayat that was talking, or Aya Noor?
Me.
Go ahead.
I said it has to be like that, but
Mhm.
most of people don't follow the rules. I
Okay.
think that.
Okay, so in general, the guidelines are the same, but not everyone follows them. And that's probably true in all cultures too, because there's a way to do it, the right way to do it, and then there's the way that everybody does it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, here are a few more phrases for you when you want to negotiate. When you want to name your objective, you could say, we want to sort this out as soon as possible. By the end of the day, we want to resolve this. And remember, we learned this word earlier, resolve. When you want to refuse the offer, you could say, that would be difficult for me because I'm not sure I can do that. And notice there in the listening, they talked about not actually saying the word no, but sort of saying how hard it would be to accept. If you want to explore the positions, so they give you an idea of what they want, and you want to see what they really have in mind. What do you have in mind? Can you go into more detail? If you want to accept the offer, good, that sounds acceptable. Great, we have a deal. And when you're making the offers, notice the if. If you do this for me, I'll do this for you. What if we supported your idea? And following up, let me know if you have any questions or if you're British, have any queries, and get in touch if anything needs clarifying. Okay. And in the listening today, he talked about get in touch. He said that all the tribes are in touch with each other now more than ever. What do you think that means, in touch? Connected, right? Or communicating. Good. So actually touching, talking to each other. All right. And then stall for time. Okay. When you are negotiating and you don't want to make a decision immediately, here are some phrases that you could use. And you could probably use these phrases when I ask you to give a 1-minute speech and you want to have a little bit more time to think. You might use these same phrases. I'd like to think about it. I'll have to ask about that. I need more time to consider it. I can give you an answer. I can give you an answer to that right now. Or maybe even I can't give you an answer. Can I get back to you on that? And let's listen to how they say these phrases as politely as possible.
Unit 10. Recording 6. 1.
I'd like to think about it.
2.
I'll have to ask about that.
3.
I need more time to consider it.
4.
I can give you an answer to that right now.
5.
Can I get back to you on that?
Okay. And all right. Now, another negotiation that we might do tomorrow, I'm not sure if we'll do this one. It's a fairly interesting one. So imagine that you're at your university and the students want to have a international film festival, but the administration is not so sure about the idea. And so the students and the administrators are going to negotiate about the details of the film festival. So they're going to talk about who is it for, where is it going to be, what kind of films can they show, when will they show them, how much will it cost, are they going to have food and drinks, and are they going to have advertising for the event. So what I might do tomorrow or even this afternoon is show you these two sides of the negotiation. So the students and the administrators, and then we'll put you in groups where 2 or 3 of you will be students and 2 or 3 of you will be administrators, and you'll have to negotiate with each other to decide if you're going to have the film festival or not and what will be the details. So that'll be something that we can work on tomorrow. We're just about done with class today. But in order to make those negotiation role plays work well tomorrow, what you need to do is study the phrases that we learned so that you can talk to each other using those more advanced phrases. Bonus points for anyone who uses the word bluff correctly tomorrow. Okay. Do you have any questions?
No,
Now,
thank you.
okay, good. Before I let you go, I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about some things that I put on our page. So I'm going to stop the recording.